Russell Friedman was an American biographer best known for winning the 1988 Newbery Medal for his work on Lincoln, a photobiography. When Russell was a child, he was always consumed in any type of writing, especially since his father used to work for the Macmillan Publishing Company, who published authors like John Steinbeck and Margaret Mitchell. He went to college at San Jose State University. After graduating from college, he went off to become a reporter for the Associated Press in San Francisco until the 1950s. Russell received the Laura Ingalls Wilder Medal in 1998 from the Professional Children's Librarians, along with one of the 2007 National Humanities Medals. He also received the Carter G. Woodson Book Award in 2005. I chose We Will Not Be Silent, the White Rose student resistance movement that defied Adolf Hitler, because I've always been intrigued by World War I and II and the root of it all growing up as a kid. I've always enjoyed reading history books, and there was something about the title of this particular book that piqued my interest. This book was published by Clarion Books Publishing and has won the Jane Addams Honor Book Awards. This book is about a young Austrian-born boy named Hans and his sister Sophie Scholl and their enthusiasm for joining the Hitler Youth that has been forming all over Germany under the watchful eye of Hitler after their great defeat during the First World War. It was until after Hans and his sister were in too deep with the cult that they realized how harsh the Nazi Party truly was. That was when the Scholl siblings decided it was time to take matters into their own hands. On June of 1942, the White Rose was formed, and they would send anti-Nazi leaflets throughout the mail and make anyone who would listen be aware of the situation that they were in under Hitler's regime. The leaflets that had been distributed around were full of information on how poorly the Nazis had been treating any and all non-German civilians. Eventually, news spread about who it was that had started this rebellion, and the Nazis traced it back to Hans and Sophie, among a few others, and were executed. This book was very informative and had a collection of facts surrounded by the gruesome events that were happening during the Nazi reign. The story behind the Scholl siblings and the White Rose Rebellion provided photos of the events that occurred along with the people that were involved during the time. This nonfiction is appropriate for ages 12 to 14, although there are no profanity found within the book. There are photos in here that depict abuse and bloodshed, but there are also nonviolent activism that happens throughout the story. It amazes me after reading this book how easily entranced young children were to quickly join the Hitler Youth movement. But because they were so young and impressionable, they were easier targets to lure them to their cause. It was against the law to speak ill of the Nazis, Hitler, or their power to rise to the top. It was punishable by death, and there would be mass murderers going around to those who were non-German or against the cause. The Nazis would use mobile gas cans to exterminate disabled patients. The victims were locked in an airtight compartment into which exhaust fumes were piped while the van's engine were running, resulting in death by carbon monoxide poisoning. The cans were forerunners of concentration camp gas chambers disguised as shower rooms, to which millions have died from. Rifle practice was a requirement at the Hitler Youth Summer Camp. The boys were taught to handle weapons, throw hand grenades, dig trenches and foxholes, and stalk, ambush, and kill enemies. A sign would be posted above the camp gate reading, "We are born to die for Germany." We Will Not Be Silent is an interpretive nonfiction because of the way that the story is presented with solid evidence that the events that occurred during the time were real and had actually happened, while at the same time the author provides the reader a vivid picture of what happened as if they were experiencing it through the Scholl siblings' point of view. This book is structured through an expository style because of the way the author presents his information through a detailed description of the events that happened following one after the other, and it allowing the reader to understand that the story is sequenced so that they can follow along. This book contains a table of contents at the beginning of the book, and towards the end of the book, we have the source notes along with selected bibliography, followed by the picture credits. To conclude it all, the index. Here's the table of contents, and then towards the end of it all, we have source notes and picture credits along with the index. The visual features on this particular book are mostly the photographs that show the people involved in everything that happened, along with rare findings of documentation of the White Rose leaflet. There's some photos. And the actual leaflet itself. This book really gave me an insight on how these concentration camps were like for young children and the way they were recruited for the sole purpose of serving their country. Nonfiction novels can be told in many various ways and in different interpretations. This one was very informative while still containing the storyline needed in order to follow through with a sequence of events. This would definitely be a book that I would recommend to anyone interested in war and the series of events that led up to it. Thank you for watching.